Hello, welcome to the new name of our podcast, which is The Learning Curve with Lauren and Darcy. And we're here with Kevin Curran, Professor of Cybersecurity at Ulster University. Hello.
Hi guys.
Welcome to our podcast with this new name. How's your day been?
It's been fantastic.
Probably good. Yeah.
Wonderful students.
I wonder who he was. Who are you into, Darcy?
Next question.
Next
We'll
question.
move on to first question.
Yeah,
if
so
you
the
want
first
to take
question,
that.
I want to ask you a few around cybersecurity. So, what first drew you into cybersecurity and how has the field changed since you began?
So 40 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
26th of August 1985,
Oh, you remember the date?
I walked into Seamus McFadden's house in Creasle and I seen a Spectrum 48K and I realized what I wanted to do the rest of my life. I was fascinated by this computer. So I told my parents and they thought, okay, that phase will pass.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't. I bought magazines. Galway didn't have many computers then, but I found one, a
Mm-hmm.
VIC-20, and bought it and just loved it. And I was a guy in college who couldn't believe my luck,
Mm-hmm.
where I was sitting in class doing my favorite thing, just soaking it all up. So therefore, I changed from being the wildest guy in my school with no focus, just annoying everyone. It's the only thing I had a real
Like
interest in. I wanted to play for Man United, and I still do. I still hope I will.
you will.
And I had a focus finally, so I wised up and did well in college, worked really hard. Cybersecurity was a natural outcome, and because I've been my favorite subject, which I've been teaching for 26 years, is computer networks.
Mm-hmm.
So to understand cybersecurity, you have to understand how packets work, how packets navigate across the network, firewalls, wireless, the different communication paths. So cybersecurity was developing, and I could see the future. I could see that everything's going online, so we need to protect it, all our data. And it was an early field. I'm one of the earliest professors of cybersecurity in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the one field that interests me, and it just comes naturally. I think about what could be weak in the system,
Mm-hmm.
what could be done, and it's I think I'll be in cybersecurity till I die,
Right.
unless somehow they solve it, which is impossible because bad people exist and people
Mm-hmm.
will always try to infiltrate systems. And we forget here in the West how rich we are.
Mm-hmm.
Other countries don't have a fraction of what we have. And of course, there is no jurisdiction on the internet. So a hacker can be anywhere in the world. And we have to protect our systems, protect our bank accounts, protect our any account we have, especially with credit cards and any accounts where we have personal identifiable information.
Do you think the government will ever be able to monitor it in the way that they monitor things in the real world? Like, do you think there will ever be like laws on like the cyberspace and cybersecurity that will actually be able to be enforced, or is it too vague?
It's always a moving target. AI has come out of left field and changed so many things. Of course, they introduce regulations, but they can be quite behind the times. And governments also get it totally wrong. The cookie law that pops up
Mm-hmm.
does nothing for cybersecurity. We've been shouting from the heavens. It's been 8 years now. And finally, they are amending it this week. And they're doing what we all would have told them, that now you can accept cookies or decline them in your browser. That choice remains active for 6 months, and then you may get a pop-up again asking, do you still want to block cookies? So finally, they've got wise that it doesn't work giving us a pop-up on every screen, and it's only us Europeans who get affected.
Mm-hmm.
So governments can be quite dumb when it comes to regulations, but
Do you think
so
that's because they don't have like a cybersecurity professional in talks with, or because it takes so much time to put a law into place? Like it takes years to finalize one and add it.
it can be, of course, you're bureaucratic. Again, you have different organizations. Of course, governments, again, some people just want their name on a bill and they do it for political prowess as well. And they don't really listen to the advice of cybersecurity experts. Um, yes, so they get it wrong quite a lot, and they're rushing legislation again without really thinking about it. But a lot of it's ego as well. It's also political as well. So it can be quite hard, especially with the EU, where you've all these countries with different lobby groups as well coming at them. But And again, you're always trying to please America, the US, because most of the tech companies that we use are all based in the United States. The other ones are based in China, but they're the tech hub of the world, the United States.
True. Um, oh, this is a good question. What part of research that's going on at the minute are you most interested in? It could be your research or someone else or someone you know.
The one I like is called homomorphic encryption. So
What? Explain.
this is the holy grail of cloud computing.
Mm-hmm.
So for years you could encrypt maybe a PDF document and put it into the cloud, password protected, but
Mm-hmm.
and that would be safe if it was stolen by hackers because
Mm-hmm.
it's encrypted. The only problem is you cannot perform any computations on that data. But what if you could have your data stored on a third-party server in the cloud? And even if they are nefarious, they've got insiders, employees, or they're hacked by a nation state, the data remains encrypted, but you can still perform operations on it. It's the theory around that was developed along with public key encryption in the 70s, but only about 16 years ago, a guy called Craig Gentry from IBM developed a way to bootstrap this to make it a million times faster. So now it's actually pragmatic to have homomorphic encryption. And it's very useful again for governments, not to mention private companies, where you can host your data secure in the fact that even if someone and the whole team in the cloud service center was trying to attack your machine and get information from it, they can get nothing because the private key never leaves your PC or your device, and you can still use a third party for storing the data and even processing on it. So that will become a huge thing in the future, especially with data sets and medical information again, just being able to share it and only being able to share subsets of it again. So it's a technology which has arrived at the right time for the future internet.
I suppose on the same like note of kind of future developments, what do you think is the most underestimated cyber threat today? Like the ones that are kind of overlooked, I suppose, not like phishing and things.
Well, today's AI,
Yeah.
that we're seeing the rise of AI browsers again, which is not a good thing because AI browsers literally have access to your hard drive. They can see the documents you have. You don't know what the prompts are in the background. You don't know what's being exfiltrated. So in the rush, of course, by companies again to be first in so many spaces again, because we know AI is a revolution.
Would you
But
say you're scared of AI?
I'm not scared of it, in fact, because being technical,
Mm.
I spend time reading it. I spend time in the LLMs. Um, Again, obviously from my background, AI will work for us technical people. I am worried about the older people. I'm worried about the people who don't have technology skills because they're going to be left very far behind in a short amount of time. So for me, AI works for me. It makes me more productive. I can do so many more things with it. So I'm in the subset of people who actually will be the winners
Yeah.
in the space. But for a lot of people, of course, they're going to be left.
Yeah.
Again, we're seeing jobs disappearing. In fact, some of the jobs which have disappeared first are the ones we thought would be last, like creative ones, like animators, people in graphic design, language translators. Again, these are jobs we associated with being creative, but actually AI has just come along and run over them.
Yeah, that's quite scary as well. You're like studying for, you think of people, like, you know, students studying, you know, for a job they've in mind, like 4 years, 3 years, and now they're being, okay, no, AI can replace, like, it's quite,
There is a lot of pushback though. Whenever I
yeah.
see a movie that used AI for the poster or anything, there's usually like a comment by the Actors Guild or something. Like, I don't think it, have you seen the AI actors?
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone's going to be funding that kind of thing. I think that will hopefully fizzle out.
I think my mom might be the only person funding that. She currently just watches AI videos all the time.
Or like video, like
Yeah.
short form videos, but I don't know that it will ever make it to like
Big screen.
hopefully.
Yeah.
It is frustrating. I go to YouTube and I happen on videos which should interest me, and then halfway through it or at the start, I realize, no, this is AI.
Mm,
It can be difficult at the moment. They should be labeled, of course, but
yeah.
one of the key ways to find out if it's an AI channel is to see how many videos have they posted in the last week or two, if they're high quality, because a person only has so much time. So if they're generating a lot of videos, you can tell generally, no, that is an AI channel. But of course, the internet, as we know, has been full of slop. That literally we
Mm,
have to put a bookmark on the internet as last year. Last year was an accumulation of all human knowledge to date. But
mm,
from now on, we're being mixing it with AI thought as well. But the future is actually unbelievable. I've seen a great demo this week of real-time video where you're watching a video and you're able to tell it what to do. And in real time, literally within 1, 2 seconds, it'll change. You can say, no, crash that car into the whatever. Also, we're going to see AI coming along and creating episodes of our favorite shows,
mm,
even shows which are finished, like The Office. You will find that you're able to personally ask it to recreate on the fly an episode of The Office, and you can prompt it if you want. You can say, "Can I have The Office?" And the characters, and they've just come to Ireland. They get off a plane and make up something funny given what they've done before, and you will have a new AI generated episode of The Office. Of whatever you might say, well, Shawshank Redemption is my favorite film. I'd love to see a follow up.
mm.
ChatGPT, please create me the Shawshank Redemption 2. And there it is.
It's insane. That's crazy. I always think it's very funny. Like, as I remember when we were in second year, you told us that you were talking about you don't lock your car and you leave your keys in your car and you don't lock your house, and like you'd think you do cybersecurity. Why would you do that? Like, I just thought like, you know what I mean? So I have a question. What advice would you give someone who wants to like make their home more secure or the things around them more secure if you do this here, for
Yeah. Well, a Ring doorbell,
everyone?
they're so easy, or even they've got great ones now with their solar power. You can put them on the side of your house
Hmm.
and you've no wires as long as the sun is shining towards you. So you get these for under 100 quid.
Hmm.
So obviously a home camera is a no-brainer for being able to, and people are aware of that, thieves are aware of that as well, that everything is recorded
Hmm.
and nowadays. So it's more difficult to break into houses.
Hmm.
Again, designing my house, because my house in Eglinton I never locked either, but it was open plan. My neighbours are looking straight at me, and my neighbours. So you'd have to be a madman to come into my cul-de-sac
Yeah.
where it's open plan, where everyone can see each other. So it's the laws of probability. And nowadays everything is so cheap. Yes, I've 65-inch TV in my, but it's only about 300 quid now. I've seen the price of them come down. So what else are they going to take? Items in houses now, good luck to them trying to take out the fridge. Household items have become so cheap. Then when it comes to the car, no one really steals cars anymore.
Mhm.
They don't know if I got an air tag in the boot. Um, so of course, for insurance reasons, you're supposed to lock your car. But I just go with a lower probability, so it saves me carrying a key around and makes my life a little bit easier.
Mhm. Hopefully someone will do that. I'll maybe start doing that.
I
Like,
worry more about my accounts.
risking it.
I worry more about my accounts online, anything that's connected to my credit card, because they can hammer me big on that one.
Mm. So would you say you're like a big online shopper or?
Yeah, for years, most of my shopping, for years, everything's been 20 years plus. If a light bulb goes out, I just go to my Amazon, I replace that, whatever else. I do go to a local shop for the fresh items like milk, and I've
Yeah.
never done the Tesco shop because I don't like wasting food. I nearly buy food on a daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
going in and getting something, but every other item apart from milk, bread, and what I'm eating
You're ordering
is ordered on either Amazon, eBay, Temu.
Temu? I wouldn't think you would be on Temu, no.
Temu is great for household products. Again, it's very hard to beat.
I heard though they're really bad at stealing your like they'll start recharging you every so often. Maybe you've not
I've
experienced.
never experienced that.
Maybe it's just a few. Maybe you're really secure in that way.
No, I mean I'm just up to them, but I also find their returns policy excellent as well. Many times I don't like the item because it's hard to get the Chinese sizes right, even if they give
Mm.
you the size guides. You really don't. You have to buy an item. If it works, then you rebuy it in other colors. But I've found many times that they don't even ask me to return the item; they just refund
Just
me
mm.
there and there.
We've seen kind of like a shift in everything being monitored, like down to places taking card only and things like that. Do you think we're heading towards a world where personal privacy is impossible?
Very much. If you go online, everything will get leaked. Everything is leaked. Even the apps that we think are secure, they're being monitored by governments, which is not too bad because if you didn't do something wrong, they're not going to necessarily share it. But it's almost impossible to remain online and to remain secure. Um, you've got, there's so many accounts that we all have. Password leaks are happening on a daily basis, but you can practice safe computing. It doesn't mean that you're going to get hacked. You just got to practice it. You got to turn on your multi-factor authentication. You've got to not reuse passwords in different sites. You've got to know what a
So
phishing site is.
I would tell someone happily my passwords right now. I have nothing. They can have everything. But what is that? There was something. It was like a cheating site. I always remember this. I don't remember what you know the name of
Yeah,
it.
you do for school. Yeah, for school, it's got all the answers for GCSE and A levels. Is that the one?
Oh no, it was one about Met. So
Was it
Oh, cheating site, Madison Ashley,
yes,
Ashley, or Ashley Madison.
Ashley Madison was like I was like, oh,
Yeah, Ashley Madison was
that's it.
hacked, and that was an example of even if the passwords weren't leaked, just the fact that your email address
Mm,
was in the breach meant that you were looking for an affair. And of course, it turns
mhm.
out later that 99% of the women supposedly on the website were humans, were men working for the company, or they were just robots. Yeah, that only a fraction of women actually
I didn't
existed.
even hear
I didn't know that. That is mental. Like, I mean, it was maybe whoever was doing it had good ethics doing the exposing the cheaters, but
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
That's kind of
That's the
gray
thing.
area.
It's a grey area, yeah.
Yeah, not really. And no, they didn't because, yeah, if they found that they should have alerted Ashley Madison, they could have done whatever. But no, they were taking the law into their own hands. In other words,
Mm,
families were involved here, kids, marriages would have broken up.
yeah.
People did hang themselves, or people did commit suicide over it.
Goodness.
So therefore, no, there's no way that anyone could justify doing
Mm,
something like that.
that was insane.
That was not an ethical disclosure because families, kids were
Hmm.
involved. And also, what if someone had used your email address?
True.
Yeah, and you're innocent.
A lot of people these days use emails as like kind of pranks or I don't know whatever, and like that would it. That's bad. I don't know how
But
anyone.
the leak was online, and I downloaded the data breach.
Mhm.
And the first thing I did was search for adulster.ac.uk.
Did you really?
I did.
And did you find anything?
I didn't. No.
At least that.
At least that clears up.
But
That's quite funny.
see, that is a problem that a lot of sites are addressing now. It's called enumeration. So if you go to a website and every website has forgot your password.
Yeah.
So I go to a website right now and say it's actually Madison 2, but it's for. So I go and I type in your email address now, and I say forgot my password, and I type in the email address. All that text box should do is saying, if that is your email, a password reset link will be sent to you. What sites used to do was that email does not exist. Fair enough. So therefore, if I type in your email address and it says, okay, the email has been sent, the site has just told me that you're a member of that site
Yeah.
by the
Okay.
message. And that's what developers have to know all these things that all these cybersecurity people can tell them. But that's enumerating a website. So that's a practice you should never do. Never give information away about who is subscribed to your database. Just say an email will be sent if you are a member.
Yeah.
This is more like of a, I suppose, ethical question rather than technical. But do you think that there's any way to hack ethically apart from looking for vulnerabilities in systems? Would you ever see like a public hack that happened and understand the reasoning behind it? Or are you just always against?
I do. If someone wasn't, yeah, if someone wasn't stealing, if someone wasn't disclosing information which was private, there has to be use cases where you could do that. You could, like in other words, yeah, I find if you're a nation, military, and you're hacking other countries, trying to get information to safeguard your country, fair enough. Totally, go for it.
Yeah.
Um, Other cases, if you believe that they're criminals, for instance, and you want to divert funds, for instance, um, you could do that. For instance, you could set up a mixer in cryptocurrency. So Cryptocurrency mixers are where you send in, say, a Bitcoin address, which you have received money from. So again, if there's companies who trace all these things, so therefore they know that transaction was from a ransomware to that Bitcoin address. So if you try and spend money and buy a car, the police will swoop because they know that the Bitcoin address was part of a ransomware
Yeah.
ransom paid. So therefore, what you do is you take your ransomware Bitcoin addresses or your money and you put it through a mixer where it goes in with other people's, and out the other end comes a new, fresh address, which is not tied to the ransomware. And then you can spend that on whatever. And of course, no one can prove that that Bitcoin came from a ransom. But you can set up mixers again because 99% of people who use a mixer are criminals, and you could just not send the money to them and keep the money yourself.
Have you ever done that before?
I'm just saying someone could do that.
Next question.
Next question. Okay, for students watching and they're interested in cybersecurity, what is one piece of advice you give them? Say they're starting their career in first year computer science.
Just study as hard as you can on all the areas, and you'll find an area within cybersecurity that interests you because there is so many aspects. There's a network aspect. There's people who love fuzzing programs and are happy in the assembly code and
Yeah.
that aspect. There's some people who just defensive aspects of it. Some people, if you got strong in maths, you might find cryptography, which we talked about today, is the area you want to be in. But generally, cryptography requires strong background in mathematics. You might find it's in penetration testing again, which a lot of people do, where you're fuzzing websites and trying to find vulnerabilities using frameworks like Burp Suite, for instance, again. But just spend as many hours as you can learning as much about computers. And now I would tell anyone to become au fait with AI, because that's the latest threat vector, really, and see how can we protect against LLMs and about AI on the machines, and how can we leverage AI to be your defender as well. So that would just spend as much time as you can when you're in the gym, when you're walking the dog, when you're in your car. Have tons of videos downloaded from YouTube. Have podcasts which you subscribe to, which are technical. And again, everything's relative. Again, anything in computing will be useful, but for cybersecurity, but just be reading, listening all the time. All the time. Use all your time you can to go to bed. I go to bed, listen to technical podcasts.
I feel like the one thing we take away from you is that you don't stop learning. You're
Never.
continuous learning, which I think that's really good. I feel like sometimes I stop and then I'm just like, I don't know any, but you're just every day you probably learn something new or something.
Yeah, you go through periods, of course. Yeah, I've definitely of late I've been very disciplined, but yes, I always try to, always because you have to in our field. Be different if I was a history professor.
Yeah.
You know, history, and I was teaching, I don't know, the English history from 1170 to 1855, or and if I happen to have a good memory, I could do that in my sleep because I would know the dates, and I know that students can only learn so much within the class. But you're not going to get that far within computer science in a fast-moving field like we have. You probably can glide for a few years on certain principles, but if you really want to be on top of things, you've got to be constantly keeping up to date and seeing where the field moves because all the time I'm always having to update my material because the information I give within class about do this, don't do this is only relevant for the day it is because things change. Like there was a time when I would have says best practice is to change your passwords on a regular basis for companies. Now that is not good practice. In fact, we know why because people just add a number to the end. So therefore, I always send over the advice I give on the day, but it doesn't mean it's relevant in 6 months. And I see it all the time in YouTube videos or even in articles online where someone thinks they know about cybersecurity and they're given old advice about Wi-Fi networks, which it doesn't stand up nowadays or whatever, because they've Googled the web and of course the stories are old. They haven't kept up to date, so they're given stale advice. So you've got to be.
Yeah. There's another one. What did you think of our essays on zero? We both did the same essay, both got the same mark. And they're actually very different answers.
Whose was better?
Whose was better? Do we want to like know?
They were inseparable. Yeah.
Oh,
You picked a very topical area because zero trust is a new architecture for going forward. In the past, we thought if someone was on the network, we can trust them, whatever else. But because of wireless networks,
mm,
because of the spread of work from home, that no longer does the network boundary
yeah.
designate if someone is to be trusted. So now what Zero Trust does, which really came from Google, is
Mhm.
verify, no matter where they're logging in from, verify that that is the person that they are when we're logging into,
Yeah.
Active Directory, whatever else, and obviously our multi-factor authentication in the background, but constantly verify. And so the perimeter is the whole internet now. So
Yeah.
How do you
Nice.
think work from home and COVID have changed the landscape of cybersecurity?
to a large degree, because we most of the systems we have were within enterprise were tailored towards an enterprise network with defined zones with defined IP addresses. Very easy to see if someone was plugged in. They shouldn't be authenticated. But working from home, and then of course people were using their own laptops at times. They're using different devices. They're downloading apps. Now we moved very much in the last few years to managed devices. So my iPad, my Windows laptop at home, for instance, which I only use seldomly, usually for audio editing, I can't install software like I used to. I have to get permission from the IT department, and the password that lets me log in and it only is valid for a few hours now, and that's best practice. That's very good. So my machine in some ways doesn't belong to me like it used to. But that's better for Ulster, it's better for the companies, and it's better for me. I'm less likely to download a rogue app. So again, that it's more restrictive, but security always comes at the cost of convenience. Again, like who really wants to go reaching for the phone for the multi-factor authentication password? This what me. But we know it's best practice because if the hackers have guessed our password and using our login name, username, the one thing they don't have is our phone or other authenticator, USB key, whatever that is, YubiKey. And so we're moving with the times and becoming stricter on policies. But of course, the hackers are getting
Mm.
more au fait with, especially now with Gen AI tools, which are helping them. So there'll never be a time where we can say, "Oh, the enterprise is secure, the internet's secure." That will never happen.
Are you afraid of deep fakes and copying people's faces for like biometric data? You know the way you can access certain apps now with your face? Are you afraid of deep fakes in that way, or do you think that it will affect it largely?
But they frustrate me because again, they all lead to dishonesty. Like I want the truth in the world. I want everything to be true. I want what I see. I don't want to be second guessing everything I do. We've seen instances of people, bosses, that were on video chats and they transferred thousands, hundreds of thousands of pounds from accounts, and the person in the accounting office, finance, literally thought they were speaking to that person. It was a deep fake. So I worry more so about society for the deep fakes. Again, for younger people who don't have critical thinking, that will believe everything they see, and of course, political parties will use it against them to dishonor people again, and we'll see things where it looks like Donald Trump has declared war in some country, and then a nuke gets fired because he appeared online in a very genuine looking video which had everything about it, and then it was lifted by the mainstream media, and then that was promoted, and so we're entering something we thought was science fiction.
Yeah.
All of a sudden has become real. So again, that's why, especially companies where they have finance again, that they need to have code words. So, in instance, if I had someone working for me and was in charge of finance, I would tell them, never ever, even if you think you're talking to me and you think you're looking at me in a video, unless you're seeing me in the flesh, do not trust that I have changed our bank accounts or that I have suddenly wanted to wire this money to someone else. Unless I'm, of course, if I'm traveling, unless I give you the secret code word that no one knows, only us, through a different channel. So we're going to have to go back to items like code words and expressions and phrases.
Kind of back
No
to
one
what we did
trusts
before, yeah.
anything digital, and that's why in the future again that trusted human sources will be very, very important.
Mm.
Again, we're going to have AI free on labels and accounts and everything else, and people will flock to those people because we will become sick of because most of the content that we'll see in the future will be AI generated because it is so good.
Yeah.
But we will become tedious and we will long for real world experts,
Yeah.
even though the experts will look primitive compared to AI, but we still want to have um, just these people who actually we can trust.
Yeah.
Because you can go down into a deep walled garden where everything is actually guided to disinform you. Whereas if you have someone who you know will, a certain year's time, that's why I will never take sponsorship on my videos. I will never, because I want somewhere I know I'll become more of a trusted, authoritative figure in the future, especially where they know that I'm not taking money from a company. I'm not promoting a product, that I'm an academic who doesn't work for any particular organization promoting something. And that gives me independence. That's why I appear more so on media because I am an academic, because we are independent.
I've got one last question, and do you have another one after?
Yeah.
So this is my last one, but I'm just kind of curious about. Obviously, it's changing so fast. Do you think that primary schools and secondary schools should bring in cybersecurity classes or lessons? Because I've noticed even with my like younger cousins, they don't recognize AI. They'll be like 12 and they'll be showing me a video and it's fully fake and they can't pick up on it because they're so used to it. Do you think that they will be brought in, primary schools having cybersecurity professionals in, or should they?
Well, they should, and it will happen organically. And society does become more au fait with what is best practice over time. 15 years ago, I remember just, being on interviews and people being surprised when I says, you shouldn't use the same password on different sites. And they were going, oh, I did not know that. Do you know your password should be a bit more complicated? Oh, didn't know that. They wouldn't. But nowadays, nearly, every granny in the city would know that nowadays. Um, PIN codes were not on. People didn't use PIN codes. Facial ID was not on their phones. Again, a phone was just unlocked out of the box. So these things filter down through society, and of course, kids will become au fait with things. And the likes of BBC, CBBS will have things on. You can imagine cartoons teaching kids not to do this, not to do that. Uh, Again, the code word actually goes back to I remember reading about a guy online who gave a code word to his kids and says, you never go with an adult unless they can tell you the code word, which I thought was good practice to tell young kids that. And even if someone is collecting your kid, your sister-in-law, your auntie, their grand, that they should have a code word again. So generally, there's only so much you can teach kids again. You probably want to walk the fine line between completely terrifying them, but again, hopefully it's up to parents that they monitor the kids online because, again, no matter, even if you sat down a kid for, if I took a 5-year-old out of school for the next 12 months and sat there every day and went through my cryptography and about best practice, and even if I tailored it towards them, they're still not going to, be safe from a predator maybe at the age of 6 or 7. But of course, everything which educates someone about, that not everything online can be trusted is good.
No, I don't think there's any more questions. I can answer mine, but yeah.
Do you have any more?
Nope. I'm done with it.
What?
Should we say?
Do you have any last advice for students or people trying to protect themselves online?
Um, the low-hanging fruit. Every day, new vulnerabilities are released. The main people who run our operating systems are Microsoft, Google, and Apple. So they have the experts in those companies who fix the security flaws that we find out about. The ones that are passed around within the cybersecurity forums, again, which the public would never know about. And every few weeks, at least once a month, they fix all those cybersecurity flaws which are out there. Therefore, update your operating system when the updates come in, and update all the programs which run within your operating system when they come in. turn on multi-factor authentication, don't reuse passwords in different sites, and don't fall for crypto scams. Just be aware of that.
I feel like I'm going through a checklist right now. I'm like, dear, you know what? My laptop, I'm not gonna lie to you, since second year it has been hacked. I still use.
Yeah.
I get all my ads like Jessica's round the corner. You know what I mean? They pop up and like,
Yeah.
I've just let it happen. At this point, I want to watch free movies. You know what I mean? You have to have that, but like, that.
This is not
work-life
the man to
balance.
be telling.
Yeah.
You're scaring
It's
them.
yeah, actually, the torrent sites are becoming popular again
Yeah.
for downloading, whereas they kind of went offline really last few years. But the reason is because there's too much choice now.
Yeah.
Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Disney, and people are realizing, hang on, they don't even remember which of the platforms has their favorite series. So it's quite often it's easier to go to Pirate Bay or Sky
Yeah.
Torrents, download the whole series, and then use Plex or whatever way you want to serve it up to yourself. And torrents are coming back in a big way.
I'm okay with it. I just ignore it.
Torrents are fine for movies and audio.
Yeah.
Right. Do not download a torrent of an exe file like Microsoft Office or
Yeah.
Audacity and all that. That is the easiest way to get to be exfiltrated, all your crypto passwords, whatever else, your banking logins, or whatever else. The only things you should torrent, if you are going to torrent, are video and audio.
The Sims 4 is now down. The Sims 4 had up, you seen that? There was a way to download all the Sims games for free, and it's officially stopped being updated. So big loss for the Sims community. I paid though.
At least you were an honest
I'm
one.
better than everybody.
No.
That's me.
That's me, yeah. Unless you want to relook at my laptop, that's my own. It's really getting out of hand these days. Sometimes I just.
You show it to me next Wednesday.
Oh,
I'm interested in that. I mean, goodness. I mean, there's a thing called malware bytes, for instance, which goes through your program and removes a lot of the browser extensions, everything else. It's free, malware bytes.
To be honest, I just kind of it's not bad. It's a wee bit of other screen. I don't mind it there too.
I'm gonna hack you now.
She's gonna hack. I'm really hackable. Like I don't mind being hacked. There's nothing to hide. You know what I
Don't be
mean?
telling people.
Oh yeah, they're going to.
I'll edit this out.
Edit this.
And thank you so much for coming on. It's
Yeah.
been very interesting. I will set up multi-factor authentication now and probably change my passwords.
I know. You got us nervous now. We're like, what have we done? Oh,
So that's us.